Gabby and not Ash. But I'm gonna do the intro just to alleviate some like pressure on you.
Intros give me anxiety.
Well good, then I'm a really good guest and everyone should have me on their channel.
Today, Gabby and I are going to be talking about something I think is really interesting. It's the intersection of being bisexual and polyamorous. Okay, so just in case people don't know who you are, what's your sexual orientation? Also, your pronouns.
I'm Gaby Dunn. I'm a noted internet bisexual. And my pronouns are whatever you want. She, her, probably.
And you're polyamorous.
And I'm polyamorous. That means a variety of things. It could mean non-monogamy, where you're dating a few people at once, or you're dating someone seriously and then you're able to have little sexual dalliances outside of the relationship. Or, I mean, you define the rules within the relationship. Or it's where you have multiple relationships at once. So, for instance, I've had a boyfriend and a girlfriend, or two girlfriends, or I've never actually had two boyfriends. Men are very insecure. It's whatever you define it as. In the past, I've been like very poly, and then now I think I'm skirting more towards non-monogamy. But non-monogamy could mean a bunch of different things. Like, I think that if there's a couple that even just like tells each other when they find someone else attractive, or like uses that in their own like sex or whatever, like if it's like, oh, we're gonna go out, you're gonna flirt with this person I know you think is cute, and then we're gonna go home and fuck, then I'm like, that's an element of non-monogamy. Because it's like bringing someone else into it, kind of. Like, I just makes me uncomfortable when couples are together and they're supposed to pretend that they've never found someone else attractive in the history of time and space and never will. And I'm like, that seems, I mean, and that's like what a lot of heterosexuality is built on, if I've learned anything from straight memes.
So you're poly because you're bi?
No, unrelated. Almost like being evil, where they're like, I had a tweet where it was like, some people might think that I'm an evil bisexual stereotype. I am both evil and bisexual. The two are unrelated. Thank you for your time. No, there are straight polyam people, and there are gay polyam people, and there are pan polyam people. I imagine that's the most fun because they get to be alliterative.
I feel like you told me once that sometimes you feel like a bad bi because you worry.
It's bad representation. Right? That it's like, it's creating stereotypes?
That you're fueling harmful stereotypes about bisexual people. Can we unpack that a little bit? Like, how do you feel about that? Is that really how you feel? Is that just an internalized thing you've created?
Yeah, I mean, it's internalized hatred for sure. Everybody has that. Do you like yourself?
No!
Right, exactly. Who does? I'm just kidding. I think that there's this thing of like, oh, you're just a slutty bisexual stereotype. And when people say that to me, comment that to me, I get nervous. Because I don't want to be contributing to negative stereotypes. And like, even with my book...
But are you contributing to negative stereotypes?
No, I'm just being a person.
Boom, yeah, you're just being yourself.
Yeah, I know. And if I was the slutty straight girl, what would people say?
Well, they should stop slut-shaming.
Well, exactly!
Yeah.
Then I'm just like a person who has different promiscuity levels than other people. And it's not all the time. It goes back and forth. Sometimes
sometimes you're a good bi.
It's respectability politics, right? So it's having to portray yourself because you're a minority as a certain way because you represent all minorities all of a sudden. And I don't represent all bi people. It's the risk that I run is that I might be the only bi person someone knows.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel pressure.
I think that I would then say that that's unfortunate, but that's their problem. And then the solution would just be more education about polyamory and bisexuality and sexual diversity in general. That's like a big solution.
No, I know,
like,
but I had...
Sneak that into all of society.
I had a guy be like, my mom is worried about me dating you because she knew a bisexual person in the 70s who left his wife for a man. That's the only one she'd ever known. That guy did that, and that guy reflected on me 30 years later. You know, speaking as someone who works in show business, I see a lot of stuff online being like, I would love to see like good bi representation, but like, what does that even mean? And then if I have a TV show, am I a bad bi rep by being a person?
And you shouldn't have to be anything but yourself, because this is what I think. I think you feeling like you have to be anything but yourself, or you have to filter yourself or hide yourself a little bit more, I think that is poly shaming.
Yeah. So do you feel like because you're with Grace, people are like, good, she's doing the right thing. I hear some stuff as a bi woman who's had multiple public relationships with like people, you know, is the opinion is like, oh, well, of course the bi girl is gonna end up with a cis man. But then when the bi girl doesn't, everyone's like, oh, yay!
But that's biphobic.
Of course, but I'm just telling you what happens. You don't know because you got married like when you were 15.
I'm more like pissed off that people need bisexuality to look like a certain thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think that's all that is. All they want from this.
So
this diverse representation.
polyam, bad. Dating a man while bi, bad. Right.
Does it ever piss you off that when people like bisplain or explain what bisexuality is or debunk misconceptions that they get anti-poly and polyshamey?
Yes, of course.
I feel like a lot of people don't get that. Like they don't understand why being like, bi people don't date men and women. People don't get why that can feel exclusionary or hurtful.
I make a joke because it hurts my feelings, but I'll make a joke being like, sorry, I'm so fun, and you're not. In defending bisexuality, you slut shame and you polyam shame. And it sucks. Because you're allowed to be whatever you want to be. You don't have to fit into some mold to be correct. So, you know how like the big gay thing is marriage equality? But why did we want marriage equality? Because we want it to be equal to straight people. Because the thing that straight people can understand the most is us wanting to be like them. That's the easiest thing for us to get in terms of rights, because we want a thing that they think is important. But what about
when we make it about them, they get it more.
They get it and they let us have it.
Sometimes.
But when we make it like a specific issue to us, they're like, we don't get it.
And it's like deviant and like
right, exactly.
And dirty.
They're like, you can get married if your marriage is like largely our marriages, monogamous, blah blah blah. Although I imagine a lot of straight people are cheaters, but whatever. That's my stereotype. You think the bis are cheaters? Have you even looked at straight memes? When it's like people wanting something, let's get rid of marriage. I want to have a male partner and a female partner, and I want that to be fine, and I want us to live together, and I want, I don't even want to get married, but I want to be able to, all of us live in a house or whatever. But so when we want stuff that's not something that straight people have experience with, then it's not okay. So they're like, I understand if you're bi, but I understand it only if you also want the things that straight people want. Does that make sense?
Right.
I don't want to have to grovel to straight people to get respect. If I'm bi and I'm poly, or I'm bi and I'm like, you know, other stuff, like I don't want to have to like go to straight people and be like, please think of me as a human being worthy of respect because I'm just like you. Even if I'm not just like you should still respect me.
That's what it kind of sounds like when people say some of those things we were talking about earlier. It sounds kind of like I'm bi, but I'm a cool bi.
Right,
But
exactly.
I'm a monogamous bi.
But I'm like you.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense when they say, I'm bi, but I'm not a cheater, because cheating isn't good,
Right,
like across the board.
Yeah, totally. Across the board, bad.
Right.
If the memes have taught me anything.
What would you like it to look like then? What would be better? What would be more inclusive and less polyshamey for it to look like when we explain bisexuality and when we debunk myths about bisexuality? What are ways we can do that don't make poly people feel like crap?
Bisexuality is not a monolith. There's a million different types of straight people. There's a million different types of bi people. That's it. Like, you don't have to be any one way to be a good bi. Just be a good person and don't hurt anyone.
Okay, bye!